Once upon a time, there lived a Frenchman named Jean-Paul, who lived in the beautiful city of Paris, France. From humble beginnings, Jean-Paul came to be a fairly notable photographer. Jean-Paul cherished his friends, which he seemed to make on every street corner. He was quite successful in every part of his life, except one. Jean-Paul, like many people, did not believe in such magical things as love at first sight or true love, but there she was, sitting just out of arm's reach. Jean-Paul had found himself hopelessly in love and couldn't stop thinking about her, occasionally daring a glance. As with most things, their meeting was a collision of circumstance, maybe accident, maybe fate, who can say? There he was, buying some chocolate in a little Parisian boutique. But not just any boutique, mind you, it was her boutique. The world seemed to stop. Stars were aligned. Love at first sight. No matter who tells you otherwise, when you meet your true love for the first time, you are speechless. One could imagine that after 2 years he would have managed to put a few words together. I'm sad to say, no matter how many times he came back to her store, he couldn't find the words that would do justice to his overwhelming love. It wasn't for the chocolate. He only went to see her, even if it was only for a moment. And yet, after 2 long years, his love for her remained unknown to all but himself. If only he was more confident and dashing like Clark Gable or that French fellow Jean-Paul Belmondo.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir. George, would you fix me with my usual place? Thanks. Goodness, George, you didn't tell me we had a royalty in town tonight. Princess. What's your classy dame like you doing in a place like this?
But I'm no princess.
But of course you are, madame. A woman of your unparalleled beauty can only be a royalty. I trust no one's been bothering you. Would you entertain the idea of my company? Your subject, your fan, your admirer.
But Jean-Paul knew he was no Gable, and nobody speaks like that anymore. His thoughts wandered to more probable circumstances. If only he could rescue her from danger, then, oh yes, then he would have her attention.
No, Okay, let's go. Well, I'm gonna scream.
Baby, you can scream all you want.
Hey, honey.
She would have been terrified, outnumbered, hopeless, trapped, lost, desperate, until...
Good evening, ladies and ugly men. How is it that they call brutes like you to scare off such a beautiful woman?
The dog like you are gonna do about it? Get him!
But again, he knew that he was no Bruce Lee. After all, he wasn't trying to bring peace to the Middle East, he just wanted a date. If only he was a bit more direct, he could probably have coffee with her.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. I believe we've met before. You come here often?
Yes, absolutely yes.
May I offer you a little cup of coffee?
No, thanks. I like to be alone when I read. Go chase girls somewhere else.
What?
Perhaps that was a little too direct. If only he were a bit more subtle, then she might show some interest.
Mademoiselle? Mademoiselle, aren't you this girl that's working in this boutique in Montmartre?
Yes?
I've been coming to your shop for 2 years now. Just in the hopes to see you for a few seconds.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. I think about you all the time. You're haunting my nights.
What? Are you a psycho or something? I can't even get a cup of coffee? Stalker!
He didn't want to come off as crazy. He would never go dashing up to her like that. He knew. Oh yes, he knew. If only he was just a tad cooler, then she would fall for him.
Mademoiselle, may I ask you a question?
Yeah, you just did, but perhaps you would like to ask another one.
No, it's just I was wondering if that novel was any good.
It's amazing! I cannot read 5 minutes without being interrupted.
That wouldn't do. He needed to take his destiny in his own hands, to do something, anything. If only he was bolder, then she'd really see him.
Will you marry?
And that was a bit too bold. In any case, there was something Jean-Paul knew above all others. Love was hopeless. A girl like her would never fall for a guy like him. He didn't stand a chance.
George, I gotta run. See you, man. It was great seeing you again.
Good to see you too.
And perhaps it was better to be alone rather than rejected. So Jean-Paul left, as he always did, in deep melancholy. But this time, not only was he mournful, but he'd forgotten his book.
I'm so sorry about that.
My mistake. I was just gonna go get.
Your book?
Yes. Thanks so much.
Are you a photographer?
Yes, I am. I have a little experience.
Little? Well, I glanced at some of your photos and I love your stuff. It's totally my style.
Thanks.
Do I know you? Have you ever been to my store?
Maybe once or twice?
Oh yeah, I remember now. It's more than once or twice. You must be a huge fan of my store.
Well, not just the store.
Let's have a walk, if you don't mind the company.
I would love to. I'm going this way.
Okay, let's go.
Thanks. So,
Look at that! Who would have guessed? Jean-Paul finally discovered that falling in love didn't have to be a bunch of complex nonsense. If only you can simply be yourself.
Je rêve d'un bonheur ordinaire, je voudrais rencontrer ta mère, j'aimerais faire des choses avec toi, mais je ne peux pas, je voudrais te dire combien je t'aime, te réciter quelques poèmes. J'aimerais te dire que quand t'es là, rien d'autre n'a plus d'importance, c'est dans tes yeux que je me noie. Et l'amour a ce goût intense, mais entre vouloir et pouvoir, il y a ce gouffre qui nous sépare. La place est prise, je ne reste pas. J'ai bien compris la dernière fois, mais serre-moi, oui serre-moi contre toi. J'aimerais qu'on s'en aille en voyage, visiter d'autres paysages. Je voudrais aller au cinéma, manger des glaces au chocolat.